I'm Laura Lee, and I'm the Young Parents Director at Youth Unlimited, where we support pregnant and parenting youth. And since we've had to stop meeting in person, we've been starting to make these video series called Hope That Helps. So during this pandemic, when the country is on lockdown, we want to give you, the young parents we serve and support, some helpful hints to access hope. We believe that hope is a key way to move us through difficulties. So in these interviews, these video interviews, we're talking to experts in different fields of practice. And I'm here today with Marianne Deeks, who is, hi Marianne, first of all. Marianne is a colleague of mine at Youth Unlimited, and she's also a psychotherapist. And Marianne, maybe you could tell us a bit about the work that you do.
Sure. So I work under Youth Unlimited as well, same organization as Laura Lee, and I have a practice in Newmarket that really focuses on ages like 12 to 30-ish. And then that would be like a private practice, again, under Youth Unlimited. And then I also work in a high school as the therapist in the high school. So I work there 1 day a week. And then I provide whatever services I can just to Youth Unlimited. So teaching stuff and
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Marianne does a lot of our mental health training here, which I've been able to sit in on. So that's what we're talking about today is mental health. So some of the young parents, we know some of those of you watching may have heavy burdens on your shoulders. We are in this pandemic. We are isolated necessarily at home. Some of us are living with mental illness. And we are certainly seeing a rise in anxiety, and isolation cannot be helping that. It's certainly not ideal for the long term. So my main question to you, Marianne, is what can we do to build good mental health strategies?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is if you're struggling with mental health already and you have strategies in place, that it's really important to keep them up. So as best as you can. So if part of that is to have a community around you, then to create community or keep community or create other community around you. And I know, Lorelai, you were going to speak to that. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a friend that you connect with or share with, whether it's, I don't know what your community is, but I also know that Young Moms offers a community, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have young parents virtual support groups, so either for young moms or young dads. We're trying our best to connect, even though we can't be in person. We have these virtual support groups where we're meeting by Zoom, and we're talking about, we'll be talking about the content of this video with our support groups. Yeah. So it's really important not only that we're in this together, but you see that there are other young parents going through this too, and can talk about that together. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that line, we're in this together, I think it's really, community allows us to feel like we're connected to something, and that and exactly that, we're in this together. So walking not alone, but with other people. Another thing would be creating a schedule. So most of us are very used to having some sort of schedule or some sort of routine in our life. And then for many of us now, we either don't have the routine of jobs, or definitely not school if you have kids, or kids in school. So it's creating schedules, as in we wake up at a certain time, we get ready for the day. So not being in our pajamas all day, because when we create routine and schedule, it allows us to go, okay, this is what my day is going to look like. Maybe you have one task for the day, so connecting with someone, or that we're going to get one project done, or we're going to do one craft, or whatever it may be, but that you have something to look forward to and to prepare for that event for the day. And it feels funny because it's not nearly like what it used to be. Things were normal, but again, it just gives some structure to what our day looks like.
So a question about that is, I've seen some of these schedules posted online that are like 8:30 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to, they seem it seems overwhelming to me. I hear what you're saying, but what does a healthy schedule look like? You kind of just said there's an event, and that seems like a far cry from this very detailed, very scheduled, that can be overwhelming. So what do you suggest as far as what we're plotting on that schedule?
I think it's interesting you said that. I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying that they had a schedule like that. It was very strict and very, we're going to get this done and this done and this done. And then they realized that was way too much. And they had to take it back and go, okay, first of all, what works for my family? Because we're not working off of other people's schedules. So the school isn't saying we have to have our kids at 8:30 at school, we're going to start, etc. But maybe for your family, it's like, I'm going to put in some time where I make sure I get this done. So for example, we're going to clean rooms today. Well, if that's done in the day, then way to go. That's one thing
Okay.
done. But I don't, again, if you have school age children, at least in York Region, they have sent, now they're sending all the education part of it. So any school kids should have a little bit of schoolwork. And so that could be part of the day. But if you have younger kids, maybe it's that you're going to go for a walk at some point. But I agree, Lorelai, like if it's so extreme, then it's just anxious about not doing whatever that schedule is. And I also think that we have to be able to read our kids or our family, because some kids might need a lot of structure and that's how they're going to get through this better. But some kids might be like, I cannot do this. So I think we have to work together as a family to understand what's going to work best for that, even that individual.
Yeah. And I am thinking we have a range of young parents. Some are brand new parents. Some do have school-age children. So it's not going to look the same for everybody.
Totally not.
Yeah.
And I think, and I think having enough freedom or grace for ourselves to say this is not normal situations. And so again, not living off of what everyone is expecting, because no one's really expecting us to be the same as everybody else.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, you've got community and schedule. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I was also thinking about being outside. So I think there really is a value in exercise and just getting fresh air. Now, I understand that we can't go to parks. We can't, a lot of the forests are shut down. But we can go outside and be creative. So for example, if you have chalk and you have a sidewalk near you, you could even write encouraging messages so people walking by are encouraged. Or if you have kids that are a little bit younger but old enough to do hopscotch, that you could do hopscotch on the sidewalk. You could take you could create a scavenger hunt. So you kind of like I Spy sort of thing. So just creative ideas, but you get your kids outside, you get to be active, but you also get some fresh air. And then even for yourself as the parent, maybe while you let your kids do a half an hour of TV or whatever you're going to do with them, that you just take time to do something active to get your blood moving. I just think it helps those endorphins to be released, and it helps us to feel a little bit more like, okay, it just releases some of the anxiety. It actually can help in that as well as some of our own mental health. So again, just being a little bit active.
That's great. I know, it's interesting even for me, being in the same space all day just creates, it's strangely difficult.
Yeah.
And I feel burdened by it. So getting out, so even walking outside and whatever it is that I do and coming back in feels like it's breaking up my day and giving me some relief. So that's great. And to add the creativity into it is wonderful. I'm writing these ideas down. We're going to try them out with our young parents. Is there anything else to add to that?
I would also say the idea of getting good sleep. I think I'm just going to watch some more Netflix because I can sleep in the morning, or I'm going to, stay up. And what I've heard from some people, again, not necessarily with younger families, but it can be that the whole schedule gets shifted so that it's a lot later. And, you're up till 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever it may be. However, it's not helpful. We still need a good amount of sleep, especially if we're dealing with kids, because we need to be patient and kind. So just this idea of some sort of sleep hygiene, because it just gives us a better, calmer sense of like our brain, right? We just need it for our own brains. And then attached to sleep hygiene, I would also say just hygiene, our own physical hygiene, so that we take a shower and we make ourselves feel a little bit better. We all, I think, feel a little better when we have had a shower and we, put on clean clothes and wash our hair. So all those little things that we maybe on a regular Saturday we might not put as much effort into, but because we're home all the time, it just allows us to feel a little bit better about ourselves.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, just as you're saying these things, these seem like really regular things.
Yeah.
But when we weight them a little more, their importance more in our life is kind of the key to moving forward with good mental health.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't do that in our busier times, but they're just as important then as they are now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really striking me as you're saying these things, like it's all of us might even agree, but we haven't thought about it or we haven't added it.
Yeah, and they're nothing special. It's not like we're going to create this new idea so that we can have this great time of self-isolation, but it's just kind of normal life that we kind of take for granted.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I've got a couple of questions that were asked on behalf of young parents. Can we take a couple minutes to answer those?
For sure.
Okay, the first one is, how do we address the fears and anxieties our kids may have about the coronavirus?
Okay, so very, very real, when particularly it's in the news all the time. So the first thing I think we have to remember is the developmental stage of our kids, because depending on where they're at, but I'm assuming many are really quite young, as they watch the news, they are going to feel like this is like they're just going to be feeding all that they're seeing, and it is going to in and of itself create a lot of anxiety. So first of all, I would actually recommend that they don't watch a lot of the news or even be part of those conversations. They don't really understand it. They don't really have to watch it, and it's not like it's a good news situation unless you can find the good news. There's some good news by, and I don't know the actor's last name, but
John Krasinski. Yes.
Like something that is different because it celebrates what the good things are. The second one is that our kids are going to feed off of how we respond to things. So if you can somehow, which is hard, but if you can somehow calm yourself and say, you know what, we're going to be okay in this, it's going to be fine, whatever it may be, just putting forward, not that you're lying, but you're just making it calm and safe for them to know that they're safe, that you have this. There's no reason that they need to worry about it because you're in charge. They're going to be okay. So I think that's the second one.
Yeah.
Third one is,
there's third. There's three.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear your third point.
Well, the third one was being honest at the same time, because kids are not dumb. They're really, really smart. And so, again, they're not at school or their friends aren't at school or whatever. There's things that are very different right now. And so to pretend, oh, it's not a big deal or whatever it may be, they're gonna be like, something isn't right about it. So even if we're sharing with them, but calmly, I think that's kind of the key, that we're honest, but also being calm and making them feel safe, reassuring their safety.
Yeah. And I think even what you have said, some tips for young parents, taking care of their mental health, can put them in a position to take care of their kids' anxieties and so on. Okay. Second question is, what can I do about feeling trapped in my own thoughts?
Yeah, so I honestly believe that leaning into faith at this point is super helpful, because this is so unprecedented and so abnormal to what we know as real life. And there's not really great answers or anything like that. But I think when we can lean into something bigger than ourselves, it does allow us to take a step back and go, okay, even in this, God is in control, which sounds sometimes so hard, but at the same time, I think it can help us really feel a little bit calmer. So that would be the first thing. The second one would be again, it goes back to community. So if it's the young moms community, or even connecting with Lorelei or one of the other leaders just to say, I need to talk through some of this. Quite frankly, I'm willing to meet online as well, just to talk through some of the stuff that, those young moms are feeling, and just to, again, just to have a conversation about it, because it's real. And if you aren't able to unpack it in your own head, it can kind of catch up and weigh on you so heavy. So yeah. Some of the things sorry, can I add a couple more?
Of course. Yeah.
Sometimes I find a lot of people find it very helpful to journal, or if you are creative and you like to do art. So anything creative that gets you just to think and focus on something else. The journaling can really help you write out your thoughts so that it's not all in your head. You actually have it written down. And quite frankly, if it's really private and personal, you can either shred it or burn it in the same place, or you can rip it up, whatever it may be, but just to allow you to get it out of your head and put it somewhere else.
That's very good. It looks like our time is up. So if people do have additional questions, please still pose them, and we'll pick Marianne's brain off camera and get you some of those answers individually if needed. Yeah. But thank you so much, Marianne, for your insights. It is really helpful to hear from you on this, and I know these are tips that will be helpful for our young parents and give them hope. So thank you for your time and your generosity of insight.
No problem.
And for young parents, we really look forward to discussing this content with you, as we mentioned in our virtual support groups, a way to stay connected. And we hope this helps. Thanks, and talk to you soon.
Thanks. See you later. Have a good day.